Hello, hello. Hi. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. Um, but I'm here. So hello. Welcome to the first Prosperity Clinic segment. Um, yeah, I'm late. How many of y'all when y'all clean y'all house, y'all lose shit? I cleaned my bathroom and then now I can't find my eyeliner. So I was I was looking for my eyeliner while talking on the phone with somebody and completely lost track of time trying to find the eyeliner. And I don't know if you noticed, but I never found it. But we're here anyway. We're here anyway. We're gonna do Prosperity Clinic. Because that's what time it is. It's Thursday, right? And Thursday is the day of prosperity. It's ruled by Jupiter. So what better use of our time on a Thursday night than to talk about money and what we need to do to align ourselves with the energy of money? I forgot to do my intro. Hello, everyone. I am Soleil. I am your weekly reader, certified life coach, founder and facilitator of the Charm School Hoodoo Mentorship Program, and I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. So thank you so much for joining me. Hey, Mel. Mel was the person I was running my mouth to. I was running my mouth to her and looking for my eyeliner, and then completely just lost track of time. But I'm here now. I'm here. Hello, Sanidra. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. So just a heads up. I had a lot going on yesterday. So in the future, when we do Prosperity Clinic, it's going to be on Wednesdays. And Prosperity Clinic is a 4-part series. It's a 4-part series that's bi-weekly. That's going to happen every Wednesday until the end of August. Okay. And why am I doing Prosperity Clinic? I have come to understand in my journey as both a priestess and a life coach. Hi, PSL lady. Is PSL for pumpkin spice latte, PSL lady? What does PSL stand for? We are 1 month away from pumpkin spice season. If you know me, you know I love fall because I love pumpkins. So I hope PSL lady stands for pumpkin spice latte lady. That would tickle me too much. But back to the point of Prosperity Clinic. In my time as a priestess and in my journey of merging my training as a life coach with Port St. Lucie, I was so far off. Oh my God, that's embarrassing. Please forgive me. I've come to realize that a lot of times when people are not seeing results in their prosperity work, it's because they're approaching it the wrong way. I think people hear prosperity and they automatically think, I have to do workings to call more money in, right? But if you don't prepare yourself energetically and spiritually to be a person that is able to receive wealth, to be a person that is able to steward wealth, and to trust that wealth is coming to you, then the prosperity work is not going to land. I've seen people over and over and over again do workings, and because they have all these fears and blockages, the workings don't land. So that's actually a question I want to start with. I want to pose to the audience. And if you feel comfortable, please put your answer in the comments section. Okay, if you feel comfortable answering this question, I have two. The first question: have you ever prayed for or done work for abundance while secretly expecting disaster? Have you ever put together a ritual, put together a lamp, a candle, put together a fasting regimen, put together a prayer regimen, whatever working you've been doing? Have you ever put energy, prayer, and conjure into calling in abundance while expecting disaster the whole time? If you hear that, if that feels familiar to you, let's do a green heart emoji. Put a green heart in the comments if you've had that experience, okay? And we're doing green hearts for a reason, okay? We're doing green hearts because, and you know what? I'm just so out of it. I was supposed to have on a green dress, and I wanted to do that on purpose because green, we associate green with money, but green is also the card of the heart, not a card, the color of the heart chakra. Okay? So, and when we don't have an aligned heart chakra, when we have heart chakra blockages, it's hard for us to receive. So money and our relationship to money is tied directly to our heart chakra. I see 4 green hearts so far, 5 green hearts. So, okay, that's not an unfamiliar experience. If that has been you, know you're not alone, and it's actually not uncommon, okay? My next question, have you ever noticed that even when more money comes in, you never feel fully secure? Have you had the blessing of either a job promotion, some sort of windfall, a financial blessing, an inheritance? Have you had the blessing of extra money come into your life, and even with that extra money, you did not feel safe or secure? If that's you, put a black heart. Put a black heart, okay? And we're doing a black heart because black heart is about protection, right? If you feel safe, you should be able to feel comfortable. The money should make you feel secure. Money should feel aligned to you. It should feel like a threat. Have you ever noticed that even when more money comes in your life, you never actually feel secure? Okay. So it's a couple of us. It's a couple of us who go through that. You're not alone. You're not alone. If you've answered yes to either of those questions, you either were in survival mode or you are still fighting your way out of survival mode, okay? And part of the reason why I want to talk about survival mode tonight is because when we operate from survival mode, we can repel the energy of money. Money likes easiness. Money likes comfort, right? Money tends to leave as fast as it comes. You got to work on that, baby. It's only happening that way because you don't feel safe. Still fighting my way out. Thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability, PSL lady, which does not stand for pumpkin spice lady. Okay. So survival mode is not just psychological. It is psychological, but it's also spiritual, right? When we're constantly preparing for the next crisis, when we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, our relationship with God, with spirit, with the ancestors, and even ourselves can revolve around an energy of fear instead of trust. And money doesn't like fear. It doesn't like scarcity. It wants to be trusted. It wants to be loved. It wants to be celebrated, right? Money is feminine. And think about the divine feminine. It doesn't want to be spaces where it's not valued, right? And money wants to be valued. When we operate from fear and suspicion around money, we end up repelling it, okay? So that's why I want to talk about survival mode tonight. Before we fully get into the conversation, I want to make it very clear. I'm not here to blame anyone who's going through financial hardship. I'm not here to blame anyone who goes through a difficult financial time. That's not the purpose of this conversation. Financial hardship is real. Systemic oppression is real. Trauma is real, right? Emergencies are real. There are so many things that are real that can put us in a place of financial hardship. So this is not about judging or blaming people if they have survived any of those circumstances. But survival mode can become a permanent operating system if we are not careful. If you are still operating from survival mode, even long after the emergency has ended, that will cause blockages in your life that will attract an energy of that same emergency back to you, okay? So let's talk about what survival mode is. We hear that phrase, I think a lot of us know it intuitively, but we may not have like a concrete understanding or definition of it, okay? So let's talk about how it shows up in the body, okay? Who here has heard of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? We've all heard of that, right? That's how survival mode shows up biologically. That's how it shows up in our body. Those responses that come up when we feel like we need to protect ourselves, those are the results of survival mode, okay? And it happens when your nervous system does not feel safe. When your nervous system feels unsafe, it puts you into survival mode. You feel like you are at attack. You feel like something bad is going to happen. You feel that there is threat around the corner, okay? And that's why fight, flight, freeze, or fawn comes up when we are in survival mode. So it's really important to work on making sure that every day you feel safe, right? You feel safe to receive. You feel safe to have opportunities. You feel safe to have blessings fall into your hands, right? When we're in survival mode, everything is about the moment. Everything is about today. It's hard to be in your creative energy when operating from survival mode. It's hard to plan for the future when we're in survival mode, right? And so when we think about, and you guys know I'm gonna bring everything back to tarot, when we think about an energy like the Seven of Pentacles, when we think about an energy like the Six of Pentacles, it's hard to receive blessings, Six of Pentacles, and it's hard to plan for the future, Seven of Pentacles, if we're always worried about the moment or worried about today and thinking that this moment is attached to threat, right? Creativity thrives in safety. So survival mode puts you in an energy where you can't think past the moment or you can't think past the day. It puts you in an energy that puts you into your trauma responses, freeze, fawn, fight, or flight, okay? So you can't think about next year. You can't think about retirement. You can't think about investing. You can't think about the building of wealth. You just think about surviving, right? Survival mode can also feed addictions in a really particular way. If you think that your blessings are only for today and you have no concern for tomorrow, then of course you're going to go and do the over shopping. Of course you're going to do the overeating. Of course you're going to buy that quarter of weed that you actually don't need, right? Because you're thinking about today, you're thinking about the moment, you're not planning for the future, right? So that's how survival mode can show up biologically as well as socially in our actions and in our habits, okay? Hey, Adelaida. I don't know if I'm sorry if I didn't already say hi to you. Hey, Adelaida, it's good to see you here. Spiritually, when we operate from survival mode, our spirit becomes contracted, right? And what I mean by that is that our imagination shrinks. Our trust in the ancestors or the spirits in our court, our trust in God shrinks when we are operating from survival mode, right? Because we feel like we don't have protection. And that puts us in a position where we treat prayer like a crisis management plan, as opposed to understanding that prayer is about building a relationship. If any of you guys have ever gotten a reading from me or taken classes with me, you guys have probably heard me say ad nauseum, prayer is how we speak to spirit, meditation is how we hear, right? And prayer needs to be about the developing of a relationship. It needs to be about a calling in of what's best for you, setting up plans with your spirits, literally negotiating, having conversation with them and setting up plans for your future. You can't do that in survival mode. Because when you're in survival mode, your prayers are, God, help me pay this bill. Ancestors, bring me the money for the rent, right? You're thinking about temporary things that are about today or the next day, and you're not thinking about the future, okay? So let's talk about a few more concrete ways that survival mode can create blockages, right? The first is, and we've already talked about it a little bit, but it's constant urgency, right? Everything feels like it's on fire all the time. Everything feels like it's an emergency, right? It makes you feel like you have to survive or make decisions right now. You don't have the freedom and flexibility to plan, to think about things and to really settle into the information that allows you to make the best long-term decision, because you feel like decisions have to be made in the moment, right? You rush purchases without giving yourself time to think about whether or not the purchases are right for you. So I mentioned earlier, right? When we're in survival mode, it's easy to do that stress-based shopping, that pleasure-seeking, that addictive shopping, right? It's easy to go out and spend $50 on drinks that you don't need, because every purchase feels immediate. It feels like it just has to happen, right? Survival mode can also make us rush relationships, right? I remember when my therapist told me this, and it broke my mind open. A lot of narcissists operate from survival mode, right? That need to love bomb, that need to skip steps, that need to have immediate access to a person's energy and spirit. That is a result of survival mode, because you don't trust that you can build naturally over time a connection, right? So when we're in survival mode, we rush relationships, we skip steps, we rush jobs, we settle for positions that are out of alignment with us. We rush investments without researching them and understanding whether or not they're the best for us, right? Urgency, false urgency in particular, is one of survival mode's favorite masks. It's one of its favorite survival strategies. It's one of its favorite disguises, right? Discernment requires stillness. So if you move from a place of false urgency that convinces you that stillness is threat, stillness is punishment, stillness is unsafe, then yeah, that will cause a lot of problems for you, because you're not giving your nervous system time to regulate so that you can exercise your discernment, okay? It's fear that requires speed. It's desperation that requires speed. And those are two energies that are connected to survival mode. The second one is that scarcity becomes your identity. When we're in survival mode, scarcity becomes your identity, right? So you move around. One of the things I hate the most is, and I've trained myself out of it, and I don't even allow other people to say it about me, don't call yourself broke. Don't call yourself broke. That is a scarcity mindset. You're adopting poverty, right? You can say I'm experiencing lack, or things are a little lean for me right now, or the money hasn't made its way to me yet. The opportunity hasn't made its way to me yet, but don't call yourself broke. That is a scarcity mindset, and you are adopting scarcity as an identity, right? You've adopted being broke as your identity, right? Be careful about those definitive statements. I am broke. My family is cursed. I always struggle. You got to be careful. Yeah, the power of the tongue is really, really important, right? You have to be careful about what you speak into your identity, okay? So identity will shape your expectations, right? Words become agreements over time. So when you say, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, you're literally merging your energy to the energy of being broke, okay? One of the third ways that survival mode shows up is hyper independence. Haha. I know mostly women of color, Black and brown women are watching tonight. So please listen. Please listen. Hyper independence is a trauma response rooted in survival mode, okay? And it sets people up so that they cannot receive. I cannot tell you how many women I work with complain about, I need help. Don't nobody help me. Who's gonna look out for me? And then you offer them help. You try to do something for them. No, I got it. No, I got it. There's a contradiction there, right? You understand there's an emptiness and a need, but you're fighting when people are trying to help you in the meeting of that need, right? A lot of people can't receive. And because they can't receive, they don't ask for help. They don't ask for help. They don't delegate. They don't hire assistants. They don't invest because survival mode has taught them no one is coming to save them and no one wants to help them. I live in a Six of Wands energy. Anyone who crosses my path and is attracted to me, I move with the belief that they want to see me win. And if you're fool enough to not want to see me win, I have spirits around me that, you know, they'll take care of you. They'll get you away from me. But yes, when you move from the understanding that no one is coming to help you, that you are not deserving of help and support, you end up creating an environment for yourself where you will never get help and support, right? Thinking about a card like the Empress shows up in places with the belief that people want to serve her and that they want to help collaborate in the interest of her highest good. You have to move that way, right? Spiritually, prosperity almost always arrives through our relationships. It comes through the ancestors. It comes through the community that we keep. It comes through the teachers and the elders that we're blessed to learn from. It comes through the clients we work with. It comes through the friends, right? Friends are a form of abundance. That's why I really want women to stop thinking it's cute to be like, I don't have no friends. I don't trust women. No, friends are a source of abundance. I cannot tell you how many times in my life I've had my back against the wall, and it was my friends that came through for me. Not the people who called me friend because they benefited from it and they were predatory and they wanted something from me. I'm talking about my real friends who love me and who see me as part of their collective community. They are abundance, right? So it's really, really, really important that instead of moving from hyper independence, we stop and we think about, okay, how can I set my life up for collaboration? How can I set my life up so that, yes, I have influence and I have the ability to meet my milestones, but I also have people not just cheering me along, but creating an environment that feeds my success. Again, Six of Wands, right? Now, I'm going to tell on myself. This next one I'm about to share, I still struggle with it to this day. I still struggle with it to this day. And it's something that I'm actively praying through and working on. And there's one particular loa that's really, really helping me with this tremendously. But one of the impacts of survival mode is that we fear rest. We fear rest. We don't rest. We don't take care of our body. We don't allow leisure time because we fear if we're not always moving, if we're not hyper productive, that the other shoe will drop, that something will go wrong, that we won't be taken care of, right? Rest can feel dangerous when you are in survival mode. This is what leads to insomnia. This is what leads to difficulty with sleeping. Because the whole while that you should be resting and you should be allowing your body and your spirit to recuperate so that you can take on the next challenge or the next battle for swords, you're just laying there in panic, right? And part of the reason why we feel that rest is dangerous is because we believe that if we stop working, everything will collapse. This is a toxic impact or a toxic result of hustle culture, okay? So I want to ask you all, what if exhaustion isn't proof of your faithfulness? I'm going to ask you again, what if your exhaustion is not proof of your faithfulness? And if you move with the belief that exhaustion is proof of your faith, where did you pick up that false belief from? Okay, that's something we really need to reflect over, because here's the thing, even God rested. Even God rested. God rests. And he's God. So if he gets to rest, why don't we, right? Sabbath is an important thing. We have feast day for the ancestors for a reason, right? All of that is putting us into an energy and a rhythm of prosperity. A well-rested body is a healthy body, and a healthy body is a prosperous body. Okay? I have one more, and I think it's a really, really important one. And I think it's the one, especially if you're a creative or an entrepreneur, that can frustrate you the most. But it's something that you have to confront, right? When we are moving in survival mode, it causes an inability to even imagine abundance. We can't even think about who we are, who we want to be, how it'll feel once the abundance is received, because our imagination is blocked, right? A prescription that I give to clients often, you need to sit for insert number of minutes a day, and you need to literally visualize yourself having the things that you feel like you want. The more you see yourself with what you want, the easier it's going to be not only for you to keep yourself in integrity around prayer and conversation with your spirits around the thing, but you are going to move through the day like a person who is getting closer to it, right? Chariot energy, okay? So those are some of the things that that happen to us when we're in survival mode, right? We stop making plans. We stop dreaming. You don't have a 5-year plan. You literally have no idea of where you want to be or could be in 5 years, because survival mode has made you believe that it is unsafe to imagine what the abundance looks and feels like for you, right? I think we forget that hope is a muscle. You have to really develop hope. You have to stretch your hope, right? Thinking about a card like the star card. You got to build and develop a relationship with it, with your faith and with your hope, right? So those are all some things that are the result of us moving and operating in survival mode, okay? Now, I want to talk about some of the spiritual consequences of operating from survival mode, because I think that that is really important. Living in survival mode does change your relationship with spirit, okay? So I mentioned prayer earlier, right? There's one thing to have prayer as the development, the conversation that allows you to develop relationship and get wisdom and information from spirit. But when we operate in survival mode, we treat prayer like a crisis management plan, right? So prayer becomes about bargaining rather than about developing a plan and developing an agreement and getting wisdom, right? So again, God, just help me get through this month. God, help the money for the light bill come, right? It becomes a bargaining conversation. Instead of praying and saying, you know, if this is in your will, help me see how I build my wealth. Help me see how I get this opportunity. Help me, you know, that's much more of an aligned prayer coming from a person who's not operating from survival mode, right? Another impact, blessings will feel suspicious. And that is a spiritual blockage. When you are at the point where you are getting blessings and you feel suspicious about them, something's wrong, something's off, right? So someone offers help, and instead of you believing that that's a blessing, you see it as a form of manipulation. You automatically go into, okay, what's the string? Maybe there's not a string. Maybe that person just got put there to help you break through something or figure something out, right? Good news feels unsafe when we're operating from survival mode. And that is a spiritual issue, because I said I was going to cuss less, so I'm going to try not to drop the F-bomb. I can't promise it won't happen. But what is the point of praying for a blessing only to get it and then to be suspicious of it, right? But that is how survival mode impacts us spiritually. Prosperity becomes frightening, right? Instead of you being excited by the blessings, you fear the responsibility more than the blessing, and you see that responsibility as punishment. Okay? Many people can unknowingly sabotage abundance because abundance feels familiar and it feels unsafe, right? If you are a person for whom chaos feels like home, it's going to be hard for you to attract abundance. If you are a person for whom peace feels boring, it's going to be hard for abundance to stay with you, right? I've seen people go from making large sums of money with ease, but because they have dramatic energy, because they love chaos, and they love to attack people or make people feel bad, it has brought financial deficit into their life, right? You don't want to be a person that's comfortable in chaos. Remember what I said in the beginning? That money loves comfort, it loves safety, it loves joy, it loves ease. Those things don't live in chaos. So another thing is that part of safety is predictability, right? And if you're addicted to chaos, you see predictability and stability as uncomfortable. Those are spiritual blockages that are the results of living in survival mode. You're so addicted to the chaos of having to fight through the day, fight through the moment, that the moment that things do become stable, instead of you working to regulate your nervous system to align with that energy, you will cause disruptions. You will loan the money that you were just blessed with to the cousin that you know ain't gonna pay you back. And then the next thing you know, you and your whole fucking family fighting. See, I just failed. I said I was gonna use the F-bomb no more. Forgive me. Forgive me, creature of habit, right? That's what being addicted to chaos looks like and how it shows up. So how do we move from survival to stewardship? How do we support ourselves in being able to handle abundance, right? So that we don't push it away through operating in survival mode. Instead of asking, how do I get more money? We need to ask ourselves, can I become someone who knows how to care for my prosperity, right? I had to wet my whistle real quick. So stewardship has a lot of elements to it, right? And there are many things that we need to learn how to steward properly. So money, of course, yes, because we are talking about prosperity, but your energy, right? You can be prosperous, and because you put yourself in the wrong environment and the wrong energy is seeping into your life, that will cause deficit for you, okay? We have to learn how to steward our relationships. Are the relationships I have helpful for me, or are they adversarial? Am I surrounded by people who either don't want to see me win, or people who have a win-lose mentality? People who have a win-lose mentality will make you broke. I've been in situations where people thought that taking something off of my plate was going to make them full. Those are the cheap friends that will cost you your expensive friends or your expensive lifestyle, okay? But also joy, right? All of these things require stewardship, protecting your joy. Stop putting yourself in environments with people who either shame the things that give you joy or go out of their way to kill your joy. But these are all things that need stewardship, right? So and this is super, super practical, but when I do this and when I remember to stay committed to it, I do see results. Daily grounding is one of the main ways that you can make sure you're practicing proper stewardship, right? So instead of checking your bank account first thing when you get up in the morning because you're panicked about money, check in with spirit first, right? Let spirit dictate how you're going to feel about your money and your finances, right? Make sure that you're having those conversations with God, with the ancestors, before you even get wrapped up in the checking of your account in the counting, in the pinching of pennies, right? Don't start your day from an energy of desperation and fear. Start it by connecting to spirit, okay? Gratitude. Gratitude will also help you in terms of developing a good relationship that helps you be a good steward of money. And when I talk about gratitude, I mean gratitude with specificity, right? There have been moments where I've had a client that I've lost touch with like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they'll pop up out of nowhere and book a reading and then just buy a whole bunch of shit on my website, right? Regardless of where I am financially, I stop and I say a prayer of gratitude. And I name that client. Thank you for this person making their way back to me. Thank you for the fact that I crossed their heart. Thank you for the fact that I have things for them to offer them. And thank you for the fact that this person is in a position to be able to afford my services, right? Those are all things that I express gratitude for. You want to express gratitude, but you also want to be very, very specific about what you express gratitude for 2 reasons. A, you can lose things that you don't express gratitude for. Sometimes spirit will bring y'all's black asses and your brown asses a blessing, and you never express gratitude for it. And then you wonder why it's fleeting. You never expressed gratitude for it. That's why, right? But also gratitude, 9 of Cups, is going to keep the cups full. It's going to keep the blessings flowing in, right? So instead of saying, I'm grateful, say, I'm grateful that my rent was paid in full. I'm grateful that I have options when it comes to employment. I'm grateful that I got to buy the good water in the glass jars and not the what's that water that's thick? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The water is thick and they sell it Dasani. I don't gotta buy the weird thick water, right? Those are all gratitude over everything. Gratitude not only keeps the blessings present, but it keeps more blessings coming in. Again, money likes affirmation. Money wants to feel welcomed. So when you express gratitude over the things that money has been able to bring into your life, it's going to say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to show up even more. I'm going to give you a little more, right? Another one is that we got to build in margins, right? And we can build in margins in our finances, yes, but also building in margins in your schedule. Some of you guys are overworking and you're still broke. And I'm not saying that as a judgment, right? I'm saying that from experience. I was my most broke when I worked as a disability specialist in an academic calendar. Not an academic calendar, an academic advisor in the UC system, working 60 hours a week, right? We think that if we overwork, that'll bring us more money. No, we waste more money putting in more work, right? That's more money spent on transportation. That's more money spent on lunches and shit. That's more money spent on clothes that is only for the job, right? So you have to steward in your schedule. You have to steward time for rest, for recuperation, so that you're not overworking yourself, right? It's in the margins where spirit often speaks. I'm going to repeat that. It's in the margins where spirit often speaks. When you margin your finances, spirit will tell you about what you can do with those finances, and it'll help bring more in so that you can do more with the money. When you margin in your schedules, spirit brings you blessings for peace, comfort, and forward movement, okay? So it's important to build margins. Practice receiving. Start with accepting compliments. Stop shying away from compliments, okay? Receive help. Let people help you. I am more than capable of holding the door open for myself. But ever since I moved to the South, men don't let me open doors for me. They don't let me open my own goddamn door. Sometimes there are times where I have to walk faster and hustle a little bit because they'll actually be further away from me, still holding open a door. Let the help happen. The couple of times I told men, no, I got it, don't worry about me, it was weird. Take the help. Take the help. Take the referral. Take the opportunity. Prosperity flows in both directions, right? People offer you opportunities because they benefit from you taking the opportunity. If it didn't benefit them, they wouldn't offer it, right? People are offering compliments because it makes them feel good to see that you fly, or that you speak well, or that you have a beautiful voice, or that you smell good, or that you're articulate, whatever it is you're being complimented on. So stop rejecting and accept. Teach yourself how to accept, okay? I'm late for a reading. We're gonna wrap up. See, this is what happens when I'm late to the live stream. So let's close it up. Let's talk about some things that we should think about, okay? I hope that we understand now how survival mode may be showing up in our lives, even if we weren't aware of it before this live. And my hope is that we are aware of how survival mode can cause certain blockages for us, okay? Energetic blockages. I want you to stop asking yourself, how am I going to make it through the day? You will. Accept it as a fact. Accept it as a non-negotiable. You're going to make it through the day, okay? Instead of asking yourself, how am I going to make it through the day? Ask, how do I build a life that can nourish me and those who come after me? And when I say come after me, I don't mean like the ops. I mean like your progeny, the next generation. What's your legacy, right? Instead of being panicked about making it through the day, start by asking Spirit, how do I build a life that nourishes me and nourishes my lineage, okay? I want to leave you with a couple of journal questions for you to walk away with and to reflect over. But before I do that, I do want to give you guys some updates while I still have your attention, and then we'll close with the journal questions. I want to remind you all that for the rest of the month, my Golden Shadow reading is on sale for $85. It's originally $125. So if you know that you have spiritual blockages that are impacting your finances, if you feel like you are having a hard time progressing and moving forward, if you feel like you need spiritual guidance around how to accumulate more prosperity in your life, consider booking a reading. My Rich Spirit Body Wash is also on sale for $33 this month. So if you want to incorporate that into your spiritual regimen to bring in more prosperity, please consider purchasing it. There's a round of the Rich Spirit Prosperity Ritual taking place the second week of August. So click the link below to learn more about it. And I will be back on Sunday for the weekly energy reading, okay? But I'm going to share 2 journal prompts with you, and then I'm going to go because I'm already late. Y'all heard the call. Where in my life am I still reacting to an old emergency? Where in my life am I still reacting to an old emergency? There may be something in your life that has you operating in that 9 of Swords energy, where you're losing sleep over something that happened in your past. And because you are operating out of fear of that, that is creating deficit for you, okay? The second one, what financial habits actually belong to fear? What are some financial habits that you have that are deeply rooted in fear, actively rooted in fear? Journal over those and really ask yourself, are these helping me or are they hindering me? Are they keeping me in a survival energy, in a panic energy? Okay? And then the last one is, what would change if I truly feel supported? What would change if I truly believed I were supported? Okay. Those are the journal questions I'm going to leave you all with. Again, I have multiple offerings around prosperity and breakthrough. They're all in the description. Feel free to check them out if you're interested. We'll be back on the 29th, which is a Wednesday, for the next installment. So keep your eyes open. There will be another Wednesday live next week, but I'm bringing back the What About Your Friends segment. And I'm going to be talking about how to navigate female friendships as an adult. Because we got to be better about the way we treat each other. It's not normal to be a grown woman and not have any female friends, or to think that every woman is jealous of you. It's not. Okay. But those will be the Wednesday lives moving forward. This one happened on a Thursday because life happened yesterday. I may come back for a happy hour reading tomorrow. I'm not sure. It depends on how I'm feeling. But I will definitely be back on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. for the weekly wisdom reading, okay? I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I really hope this conversation was helpful. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next one. Take care. Bye.